Nordson Corporation is proud to continue to invest in educational opportunities through our sponsorship of Academic Challenge. Nordson is a global leader in precision technology solutions with a long and proud history of giving back to the communities where we live and work. Each year, we donate 5% of our U.S. pre-tax profits to charitable endeavors, prioritizing programs that support STEM education, human welfare, and arts and culture. To date, Nordson and the Nordson Corporation Foundation have donated nearly $173 million to charities, awarded $7.5 million in scholarships, and our employees have logged more than 117,000 volunteer hours. Thank you for watching Academic Challenge. Best of luck to all the participants.
This week, teams from
Hudson, Manchester, St. John
compete on the Nordson Academic Challenge. All right, here we go. We welcome you to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Rob Powers. We're so glad you could be with us this week. For the next 30 minutes, our players will be tested on their knowledge of subjects like math, science, history, a few others as well. So one more time, let's hear it for our teams from Hudson, Manchester, and St. John. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. These are the scores our kids today need to beat. Keep in mind, by the end of this season, 60 area high school teams will have competed trying to make this leaderboard, and the 3 highest scoring teams will be back to play in our 56th championship game to try to win the top prize of $6,000 for their schools, awarded by our friends at Nordson. So let's start this Saturday morning where we start every Saturday morning. It's time for the lightning round. All 3 teams compete in this round. I ask 10 questions that have a common theme. We award 20 points for a correct answer. We take away 20 points for an incorrect or no answer. Each team will start this match with 100 points. All set? Hands on your buzzers. Here we go. All your answers here begin with the letters C, U. C as in cat, then U. Got it? In 1876, he lost the Battle of Little Bighorn. Hudson.
Custer.
Excuse me?
Custer.
That is correct. The son of Venus, he was the Roman god of love, Manchester.
Cupid.
That is correct. Daniel Boone led settlers through this gap in the Appalachian Mountains, Manchester.
Cumberland.
That is correct. This is Chicago's National League baseball team.
Cubs.
Hudson.
Cubs.
That is correct. This is the wedge-shaped writing of ancient Mesopotamia. Hudson.
Cuneiform.
That is correct. Slices of this long green food are found in salads. St. John.
Cucumber.
That is correct. This is a solid figure with 6 equal square sides. Hudson.
Cube.
That is correct. A proverb says this inquisitive trait killed the cat. Hudson.
Curiosity.
That is correct. Churchill talked of this figurative iron barrier separating countries. Manchester.
Curtain.
That is correct. Today's final lightning round question comes from our good friend Kirsten Ellenbogen, President and CEO of the Great Lakes Science Center.
Scientific advances are often the result of teamwork. This husband and wife team discovered radium.
And, Hudson.
Curie.
That is correct, and that's the end of that round. We are off and running. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more of the Nordson Academic Challenge right after this quick timeout. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. If you'd like more information about any of the schools that appear this season, scan that QR code you see on the upper right-hand corner of your screen with your cell phone. That code takes you to the news5cleveland.com Academic Challenge page. We have links for every one of this season's schools right there for you. For us, we play Hot Picks now. One at a time, I ask each team 8 questions picked by the captain of another team. Correct answers here are worth 20 points. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 8 questions correctly in this round will receive 25 bonus points. But before we get to the questions, let's meet our players. Let's start with Hudson, the captain. Gemma, you're up. Tell us about yourself.
Hi there, I'm a junior. I play classical violin and fiddle as well as rugby. Thank you to everyone supporting us today.
There you go. Well done. Hi, Emily.
My name is Emily Shaw. I'm a sophomore, and I play viola, and I'm in Science Olympiad.
Very well done. Thanks for being here. Hi, Graham.
Hi, I'm Graham. I'm a junior at Hudson High School, and I just want to say hi to my sister Cameron, my mom Natalie, and my grandparents watching at home.
Go ahead, say hi.
Hi.
There you go. All right. For your questions, Hudson, we go to Jack, the captain of Manchester. Jack, you have an open board here. Envelope 1, 2, 3, or 4?
We're going to go 3.
You got it. All right, Hudson, these are all for you. All set? Here we go. The 17th century writer Thomas Browne denounced as vainglory what huge geometric structures built as tombs for ancient Egyptian pharaohs?
Pyramids.
That is correct. Due to shifts in the Pacific Ocean floor, every year Hawaii gets approximately 2 inches closer to what country, also the smallest continent?
Australia.
That is correct. If someone gave you a nephoscope, you could use it to track what kind of phenomena often seen in nimbostratus forms?
Lightning.
Clouds. Clouds is the answer. So that's all right. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. The tissue covering all free body surfaces is known by which of these terms?
Epithelium.
That is correct. Paid a gold coin for every couplet, a 10th century poet wrote 50,000 of them in creating the national poem of what modern nation where Tehran is the capital?
Iran.
That is correct. Some cats might cry over spilled milk, but what cat from Alice in Wonderland would probably just go right on grinning?
Cheshire cat.
That is correct. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Perform the indicated operation, giving your answer as a positive integer.
505.
That is correct. Saying our federal union, it must be preserved. What 7th president informed South Carolina he would not permit nullification of federal law?
Jackson.
That is correct. Nice round, Hudson. There you go. That's the way to get it started. And that takes us to Manchester. That takes us to the Captain Jack. Captain Jack, welcome this morning. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Jack Benoit. I'm a senior. I am an Eagle Scout, and I'm a CCP student through the University of Akron.
There you go. Welcome this morning. Hi, Camille.
Hi, my name's Camille Taylor. I am a junior. I play varsity tennis, and I'd like to thank my family for always supporting me.
There you go. All right, Oliver, you are up.
Hi, Oliver Morrison, freshman at Manchester High, up-and-coming Quiz Bowl team. Want to come be here without my grandpa.
There you go. That's so nice of you. Thanks for being here. Jack, let's go to Joe, from St. John. There's Jack and Joe and John. Joe, you're the captain for St. John. 1, 2, or 4?
4.
You got it. All right, Manchester, these are all for you. All set? Here we go. What African-American woman, nicknamed the Moses of her people, led over 300 slaves to freedom via the Underground Railroad?
Harriet Tubman.
That is correct. Ship of Ghosts is the spooky title of a book about a World War II vessel named for what largest Texas city?
Houston.
That is correct. 2 climbers climbed into the record books in 2002 when, for the 100th time, they scaled El Capitan, a landmark in what California national park?
Yosemite.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. Which of these substances is used to indicate the presence of starch because starch turns blue-black when in contact with it?
Iodine.
That is correct. Once a committed socialist, what Italian opposed the Socialist Party when he became Italy's World War II dictator?
Benito Mussolini.
That is correct. Chrome Yellow was the first published novel by what colorful British author, better known for the futuristic work Brave New World?
Huxley.
That is correct. Back to the monitor. Here's your math question. What is the value of this expression, giving your answer as a positive integer?
20.
That is correct. That was big. This is for the bonus points. To attract American tourists, a businessman in Okinawa built a replica of the boyhood home of what 42nd U.S. president? Answer?
Bush.
Bill Clinton was president number 42 for Manchester. Nice round. Good job. And that gets us to St. John. Joe, you're the captain. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, my name is Joseph Piccirillo. I am a senior at St. John. I do wrestling and football.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. Connor, you are up.
Hi, I'm Connor. I'm a senior at St. John. I play the bagpipes, and I want to thank my family, my friends, and my girlfriend.
You play the bagpipes. My guy. There you go. Hi, Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace Seaton. I'm a senior at St. John. I'm the president of the NHS chapter, and I wrestle.
Thank you very much for being here this morning. Thank you, all 9 of you, for being here this morning. For our little program, thanks for supporting what we try to do in the community. Thank you. All right, for your question, St. John, Gemma, we're down to 1 or 2?
2.
You got it. All right, St. John, these are all yours. All set? Here we go. In the 1770s, Pittsburgh colonists destroyed local stocks of what same beverage that other patriots had thrown into Boston Harbor?
Tea.
That is correct. In the Second World War, John F. Kennedy's patrol boat, PT-109, was sunk near what Pacific islands named for a wise biblical king?
Solomon.
That is correct. Without the help he received from Medea, what legendary Greek hero would never have been able to find the golden fleece?
Perseus.
Jason. Jason is the answer. That's all right. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. Which of these terms identifies an enzyme that changes fats into fatty acids and glycerin?
Amino acid.
Lipase is the answer. Lipase. Fish species are spread to isolated bodies of water when their eggs are eaten but remain alive and then are excreted, yuck, by what kind of creatures of the class Aves or Aves or Aves?
Reptilians.
Birds. Aves, birds. What fictional man marooned on an island found the days went by faster once he met a companion he named Friday? Answer?
Odysseus.
Robinson Crusoe. Let's go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Solve for x if y equals 1.
Three.
4. 4 is the answer there. Truth is the glue that holds government together, said what American who took over the presidency when Richard Nixon resigned? Answer?
Reagan.
Gerald Ford's the answer there. All righty, that's the end of our round. Nice job, everybody. We'll be back with more academic challenge excitement right after this.
Morning, Cleveland.
Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Joining us this morning, courtesy of our friends at Cuyahoga Community College. Look, it's Victoria Montero. So great to see you again this morning, Victoria. Thank you so much for being a part of our fun. Before we continue with our next round, let's take a look at the scores as we have them right now. In third place, 160 points, Ashtabula St. John. In second place, 300 points, Manchester. And with 360 points, it's Hudson. But hold on. Time now for the Picture Perfect round. All three teams compete in this round. I ask 8 questions that have a picture clue. For every correct answer, we award 20 points. But for a wrong answer or no answer, we take away 20 points. So hands on the buzzers, eyes on the big monitor when we need it. All set? This old painting depicts what largest city in Africa, the capital of Egypt since the 10th? Hudson.
Cairo.
That is correct. Designs such as this, which can only be seen from the air, cover the ground at Nazca in what South American? Manchester.
Nazca lines.
Peru. Peru is the answer there. Ludwig van Beethoven could have put his signature on 16 string quartets and how many symphonies? Hudson.
9.
9 is correct. What is the greatest common divisor for this group of numbers? Hudson.
7 squared.
7 squared is correct. This is a black-naped blue flycatcher, which nests in what sort of tall grass? The principal food of giant pandas. Manchester.
Bamboo.
That is correct. Frederick Douglass had to mortgage his home to help support what newspaper in which he continued his attacks on slavery? Hudson.
The Liberator.
The North Star is the answer there. Known as benitoite, this mineral has its primary source in what western golden state? Hudson.
California.
That is correct. On this August 2024 cover of Cleveland Magazine, we can see Bernie Kosar's Super Bowl ring he won while playing with the Cowboys. Go ahead.
Browns.
Okay, I was going to ask you the first female United States Attorney General in the same year. That was Janet Reno. I'm sorry, we have to take the points away. That's the end of our round. All righty, don't go anywhere. We're going to mix it up right after this. Welcome back. Let's meet today's advisors. From Hudson, it's Robert Bolin and Amanda Brunner. From Manchester, Lisa Barnes Prince is here. And from St. John, Teresa Kelly's here. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for getting the kids here and for everything you do all year long. All right, time for us now to mix it up. One at a time, I ask each team 6 questions. A correct response here is worth 20 points. No penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 6 questions correctly in this round receives 25 bonus points. Hudson, you are up first. All set? Here we go. While you're seated here, see if you can find the hidden name of one of the halogen elements. Answer?
Iodine.
That is correct. Right there. A person who comforts you in time of sorrow is giving you which of these?
Solace.
That is correct. Before he moves to another inn, you can rearrange these letters to name what body of water, also called La Mancha, that separates Great Britain from France.
English Channel.
That is correct. By filling in the blanks here, you can name what Swiss city that gave its name to the conventions concerning treatment of prisoners of war.
Geneva.
That is correct. Of these three substances found in your blood, which one has the most effect on the clotting of blood?
Platelets.
That is correct. That was big. This is for the bonus points. One Renaissance writer claimed that the Bible's Psalm 92 proved the existence of what legendary animal with one horn in the middle of its forehead?
Unicorn.
Unicorn is correct for the bonus points, Hudson. Way to go. All righty. And that gets us to Manchester. All set? Here we go. Okay, I'm not sure he is here, but you can gain 20 points by finding in this sentence the name of what 19th century German engineer and the engine he developed. Answer?
Diesel?
Diesel, yes.
Oh, okay.
We'll take that, yes. If you gave a political candidate your vociferous support, you would be supporting him or her in which of these ways?
Vehemently?
That is correct. You won't need a mug if you rearrange the letters here to name what island in the Pacific that's a U.S. territory.
Guam.
That is correct. What same word referring to a relative should you place in the blanks to identify a large standing clock and post-Civil War legislation designed to prevent ex-slaves from voting?
Grandfather?
That is correct. Chrysalis is important in the life cycle of which of these?
Butterfly.
That is correct. That was big. This is for the bonus points. A third base coach might say this to a runner, but these words were actually written 2,000 years ago by what Roman poet who wrote the Aeneid?
Yes. Virgil.
Virgil's correct for the bonus points. All righty. Here we go. St. John to finish things up. Ready? Here we go. Before you head to the kitchen, see if you can find here the hidden name of what hepatic organ of your body?
Liver.
That's correct. Which one of these words would best describe someone who is nimble?
Agile.
That is correct. Forget food here and rearrange these letters to name what cold North Atlantic island country? Answer? Is Iceland. Iceland, sorry. Fill in the blanks here. You can name what kind of colonial servant who paid for their passage to the New World by working without pay for a number of years.
Indentured.
That is correct. The brain in which of these kinds of creatures is usually a ring of ganglia wrapped around the esophagus?
Mollusk.
That is correct. The final line from Dickens' A Christmas Carol is spoken by what small crippled boy, the son of Bob Cratchit?
Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim's correct. Nice round, everybody. All right, that's the end of our round. We'll be back with our final and deciding grab bag round right after this. All right, welcome back to the big show. Let's take a look at our scores right now. Third place, 260 points, St. John. Second place, 445 points, Manchester. Leading the way, 545 points, is Hudson. But hold on, it's time for our grab bag round now. All three teams compete in this round. I ask as many questions as time allows. 30 points for a correct answer, but you will lose 30 points for wrong or no answer. Again, this is for all three teams, so everybody's hands on the buzzer, eyes on the monitor when we need it. All set? Here we go. In 1975, the U.S. government established a board to encourage Americans to convert to what system of measurement? Manchester.
Metric.
That is correct. A musician who plays the oboe or the clarinet would be seated in what section of a Manchester?
Woodwind.
That is correct. To encourage newborn chicks to imprint on birds instead of humans, zookeepers dressed up like the whooping variety of what endangered bird? Hudson.
Crane.
That is correct. The bankers in this painting would not have won the approval of what character from Hamlet, who says neither a borrower nor a lender be? Hudson.
Polonius.
That is correct. More than 120 years after Thomas Paine wrote The Crisis, a magazine called The Crisis was founded by what African-American leader whose first three initials were W.E.B.? Hudson.
Du Bois.
That is correct. The Wright brothers originally aimed to build an aircraft that, including the pilot, would weigh how many pounds equal to 3/8 of 1 ton? Manchester.
750.
That is correct. The home of John Neville, a Pennsylvania tax official, was burned by a mob during what 1794 uprising with an alcoholic name?
Whiskey Rebellion.
Whiskey Rebellion is correct. This is quite a quote from one American physicist who was the scientific director of the Manhattan Project. Manchester.
Robert Oppenheimer.
That is correct. Exploding with a force 13,000 times greater than the atomic bomb that obliterated Hiroshima. What volcano sent shockwaves? Manchester.
Krakatoa.
That is correct. What title character created by Joseph Conrad becomes a demigod to the natives of the fictional land of Pattinson? Answer is Lord Jim. If you're lucky enough to be in Paris on July 14th, you will find yourself celebrating what French? Hudson.
Bastille Day.
Bastille Day is correct. You got it in just at the end of that buzzer, and that is the end of our game. We go to the scoreboard now. With 260 points in third place, it's St. John. In second place, 595 points, it's Manchester. And the winner of today's academic challenge with 695 points, it's our team from Hudson. Wow. That's a good game right there. Be sure to join us next time. We feature teams from Conneaut, Conotton Valley, and Jefferson area. Thanks for watching this one. I'm Rob Powers. Study hard. We'll see you right back here next week.